Welcome back. A futuristic resto lounge in Makati, known for its nightlife, is also serving up a mouth-watering fusion cuisine by thinking out of the box. Caroline Howard takes us there.
Makati is not known for fusion, but there's one restaurant that's upping the ante. It's going beyond the chrome and the glass and pushing what's on the plate. Hello everyone, we're here with Chef Bruce Ricketts. He is in fact the executive chef here at Robot. Chef, what's the concept behind Robot?
It's basically a resto and a lounge. The idea is really futuristic. The name itself came from the idea of a robotayaki, a Japanese grill that they use where they make skewers, pretty similar to like yakitori. The venue of Robot, it's really futuristic to the thing. The lights everywhere, you know, it turns and shifts from white to blue to red. It just, you know, it's an experience of its own. It's the first of its kind here in Manila.
Okay.
We're known for the bathroom. The bathroom is really awesome. It's mirrors everywhere and it feels like the faucets are like robots as well. Fresh.
It definitely has that ambiance and the feel, but why a futuristic resto lounge?
Most of the people and the owners actually, they're all relatively young and they're always just thinking of new ideas, and that basically reflects on the restaurant that they built. If you could find a place where you could just actually eat and then just hang out, and then after that you don't have to go anywhere else. That same night the DJ comes in, the lights get turned down, and then the drinks come out and you don't even have to walk and move anymore. You're just basically literally lounging.
You're credited for your flair for mixing flavors. What went into that?
I lived in California and traveled around from San Francisco, Los Angeles, but I was from San Diego. And there really is a cross of cultures over there. Different cultures, when they clash, there's always something good to get out of it. You can find some form of synergy with flavor. The food, Japanese fusion, we really try to make it reflect on what's available in season, and we try to let the ingredients speak for themselves. For example, I'll take ingredients like shiitake mushrooms, things that they use commonly in Japanese cuisine, but I would kind of play it around and treat it more French. You know, cabbage. I mean, I don't really, you know, you see cabbage in Japanese cuisine, but it's steamed and wrapped around, or for nori and stuff like that. But now what I do is I infuse some truffles in it and I made it more creamier, and I add cream and butter. Or, you know, like I would take a tomato-based sauce like a romesco, and I would add Japanese ingredients like sea urchin and add a little bit of mirin. And then all of a sudden it just transformed into this whole new thing that no one has ever tried before.
My understanding of what Robot really lays out is practically a degustation. Give us a semblance of the menu. Of course, there's cocktails there too. The
cocktails, we had this champion bartender from London who came. His name's Rod Eslami, and he changed up the drinks. Our bestseller here now, the cocktail that we have, it's called the Lady Gaga, and it's an amaretto sour. It's fizzy, it's got egg whites in it, and that's interesting, but it's tasty. It's a hit in Robot. The degustation, now we do it seasonal because it is also tied into the style of Japanese food, even if it is fusion. We do have a sushi and a sashimi menu. We do have makis and sushi rolls, but our sushi rolls are a bit different than the actual traditional ones.
How is that?
Because, you know, we infuse South American flavors. You know, we'd have, instead, you know, say we'd have a spicy tuna roll. Our spicy tuna roll doesn't normally have just like the Japanese togarashi into the mayonnaise. You know, we'd use things like balsamic reduction and then add it. And that's the fusion part of it. You know, you're taking Italian flavors and adding it in, and then you're coming up with this new spicy sauce. We have our best sellers. We have things like the spicy tuna. We have this pan-roasted Chilean sea bass, the robotayaki grilled tenderloin steak. We have this thing that we call the black box. The black box is basically based on, you know, I'll tell the purchaser and say, look around the market and see what's available and what's really fresh.
Okay.
You know, what looks in season. Ano yung pinaka-ripe na meron sila, ano yung pinaka-malaking isda na meron sila na mukhang kakahuli lang. And you get that, and that's what we will use, and we will write our item based on what's available.
Incidentally, you are pulling out something from the black box for us today.
Yes, you know, I heard you guys were coming over.
Okay.
So, you know, first thing in my head was, you know, why not create a dish for the actual segment? It's gonna be steamed and flash fried lapu-lapu with aligre risotto, prawn thermidor and dynamite sauce, uni shellfish emulsion, and basil oil.
First things first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna, you know, as I did, I had some julienne scallions, some ginger that I did as well, and we're all gonna put it on top of the fish. After you season it with salt and pepper, and then you have your soy and your sake. What we're gonna do is we're gonna steam it. Probably gonna take about 7 minutes at the most. Now the thermidor, what I did with this thing is I actually grilled the shrimp like really fast, but you could get the meat out. You make a sauce, which what I call the dynamite sauce. It's basically mayo, a little bit of Korean chili paste, some sake, some mirin, a little bit of tobiko, which is smelt roe, para siyang caviar, but it's orange. And then you mix it and you season it, you taste it, and then you put it back into the shell. So we leave it up here. Here I also have some tomatoes that I roasted off kanina, and that's gonna be part of the risotto as well.
Chef Bruce then prepares the aligre risotto.
Because the trick to making good risotto is you have to make sure that you really par cook it na, so that the flavor sits with it and it marinates inside. Just glaze it up a bit of oil. You go take your risotto rice in, and then you take a bit of the broth. This broth is basically dashi, Japanese broth that's used for making miso soup. As you're letting the water reduce, you have butter here. Take a heaping amount, put it all in there. A little bit of scallions, spring onions that I just cut up. And then the secret weapon, which I love the most, taba ng talangka, aligre. You mix it all up, stir it up a bit. You season it with some salt and pepper. So you see that nice creamy consistency. That's what you want. And we're gonna saute the other stuff. The leeks, the mushrooms, some of the garlic chives, the charred sile, a little bit of sake. Okay, a little bit of stock. And that's gonna reduce. A little bit of butter. Tomatoes in, roasted tomatoes.
Chef Bruce then proceeds to plating.
Basil oil just around, kind of make it look nice. Vegetables kind of just get tailored around. Some of this here. The steamed fish is good to go now. You take this super hot smoking oil, and you just pour. Here we are. Take a little bit of the sauce, mix it up a bit. Drizzle that thing over. A little garnish for color.
Chef, take us through this now. Your dynamite sauce complete with the prawns and the lapu-lapu. It's a very beautifully plated dish.
Thank you. As you see it on the plate, it speaks for itself. Steamed lapu-lapu, prawns, thermidor, and dynamite sauce, some roasted seasonal vegetables, aligre risotto, basil oil, and a little bit of the juice from the steam. So along with that, I gave a condiment. It's actually a shrimp bisque that I infused with sea urchin. If it gets a little hot, just wash it down with a bit of Lady Gaga. You do the honors.
We'll
the
do
dish
this
was
together.
made for you.
Thank you very much
So go
for
ahead.
taste buds. That is one potent dish. Explosive, definitely, with the dynamite sauce.
Right.
Works wonderfully with the prawns. Balances each other out, doesn't it?
It sure does. I mean, don't you think? Aligre risotto, the creaminess, a little bit of that spice, and then a bit of just like slight acidity from that little steam sauce.
Here's Lady Gaga to you. Yum. Just the right sweetness too.
Right.
One of the biggest events you had very recently was the ASCO's victory. What
Right.
was that like?
Well, that was a lot of fun because what happened was when we did the Ascal's victory party, they, as much as the drinks were everywhere and we had a lot of bottles and everyone was having a good time, we also busted out some food. But that one, what we did was miniaturized. You know, it was more like a tray pass. So we took all of the items that we had and we turned it into little hors d'oeuvres, and we were just walking, you know, we had the servers walk around and eat it. Because after all, you know, it's a victory party. You're here to celebrate, drink, and have fun and talk about what they just like what they just accomplished.
How are you pushing the possibilities of food?
As of now, we have our bestsellers. I tend to keep that, but I just really want to constantly bring in new flavors, bring in new dishes. You know, my hope for the black box is we have customers looking for what I just did last week, and then eventually it becomes a bestseller of its own, and then it makes it in the menu. As a young chef, I just don't want to be stuck with a certain dish that I'll be doing for 10 years. You know, I really want to be constantly able to create, and that's the push with the food that I do.
That will do it for this edition of Taste Buds. I'm Caroline Howard. Remember, life's a treat. Till next time.